Paul, local authorities have been at the forefront of providing a positive digital experience for their citizens for a long time. They're also embarking increasingly on the journeys of AI contact centres. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, Rads, exactly. So there's been so much innovation in this space, mainly driven by the financial challenge, which has lasted well over a decade. Local government is brilliant at designing digital services for its customers, for its residents. And this has took the shape of modern contact centres that are AI driven, lots of web chat, chatbots, web assistant, a seamless customer journey between the digital channel and the phone channels. What it does, it frees people up to deal with the highest value customers, the most vulnerable customers, so get the best people on the best tasks with the highest impact.
And of course, Paul, aren't the local authorities centralising more and more services?
They've been able to centralise those different customer operations into a single contact centre, which is great news for the customer. They just have that one single contact and that one customer journey rather than ringing many different departments.
So mobile working is increasing, isn't it, Paul? We've seen that in healthcare. What's the story like in local gov?
Yeah, there's a good link there with healthcare because we've got the social care element in local authorities too. So let's start with social workers. Really important to get the right device in social workers' hands, whether they're working with children or they're working with adults. They're capturing information in the field, which is evidenced to be safer, more accurate, captured at source, really important. But also there's retention here to think about. So these areas in certainly upper tier councils, it's really hard to retain staff. It's a really tough place to work. So giving them the right device that lasts, that's there every day for them, that just works, is so important to keep staff happy, to keep staff retained. And if you don't retain your staff, that's going to cost a lot. Also with these devices, particularly in social care, we're increasingly seeing the service user interact, so children inputting their experiences onto these mobile devices with children's social workers. So it's a fascinating and exciting area. But if we think about the wider council, there's so much mobile working going on across the councils now. So if we think about environment, in-cab technology for waste and recycling, if we think about public protection, if we think about elections and democratic services, these people traditionally didn't have the technology. Now they're working all over the borough with technology, services out there, designing new ways of working with the community. So it's really important to have the right device in the right role for the right outcome. So Rads, in local authorities, work styles have really changed. The pandemic's changed a lot. What are your views? What are you seeing from our customers?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. There's a lot of shift towards more hybrid working. With council, there's a lot of public engagement that needs to happen, so that needs to be coordinated quite well. Lots of mobile devices, of course, being used when it comes to working styles as well. And really the more move towards more flexible working patterns that the staff have gotten used to.
It's a great point, Rads. I'd also say that people are still going to receptions in town halls, and it's often the most vulnerable parts of society that still have to use the face-to-face services. So getting the technology right for the staff and the citizen in that situation is absolutely key.
So Paul, how can you be cost effective whilst implementing digital workspace?
I think there's three key areas, Rads. The first area is thinking about the life cycle of the device. Sometimes we talk to customers about sweating assets, and you can sweat them too long, people can be unproductive. When I was a CDIO, I was really concerned with how much these devices were costing to maintain as they came back and forth into IT. And if you're working with a social worker or someone in the field, that's lost time, that's bad for them, it's bad for the customer or the service user. The second point I would say is getting a good handle on assets, using service management techniques and technologies. We've seen a big change since the pandemic. Devices went out very quickly. So getting assets tracked properly, monitored properly, helps compliance. It helps chief financial officers as well. But ultimately, it's about buying proportionate technology, the right device, the right technology for the right service. So Rads, sustainability, it's a real hot topic, and local authorities have a key part to play in this, don't they?
Each council has declared a climate emergency. And really, there's a huge responsibility on councils to lead right from the front. When it comes to digital workspace, there's such improved and increased opportunities now to make sure that any devices that you use and deploy are sustainable from a long-term perspective, whether it be battery life, whether it be recycling options, and really how do you support hybrid working as well, because that, of course, has an impact on the carbon footprint of a local council.
Thanks, Rads.
So Paul, of course, security remains a top risk for a council. How does it play with digital workspace?
It is a top risk. It's becoming an increasing risk. We've seen increased cyber activity. We've seen increased numbers of councils being taken down to great financial and service impact. How does that play into Workspace? Well, often it's the person and the device that's targeted first. And the way to get around that is to make sure we've got good integration, starting with the device, but moving right through the security stack.
So the message there is integration is key.
Yeah, integration is key. And just in final summary, councils still face key challenges with demand and budgets. So they've got to come up with innovative ways to create great services, which is about empowering staff with the right technology to deliver a quality service to the borough's citizens.